there was an unexpected Drake and Josh and The Last of Us crossover on Sunday night. Josh Peck, the Nickelodeon icon who also stole scenes as a Manhattan Project scientist in Oppenheimer, popped up at the beginning of HBO's newest episode of The Last of Us. He delivered a memorable monologue as Janowitz, a federal disaster response agency soldier who bonded with his brothers-in-arms by telling them an expletive-ridden story about detaining voters, the ironic FEDRA nickname for quarantine zone residents who've had their rights stripped away, in a departure from The Last of Us Part 2 video game. The show flashes back to 2018, as soldiers in the Seattle quarantine zone are riding in the back of a cramped van to a mission. Janowitz entertains his buddies by telling them about the time he stopped 3 voters who were disseminating religious pamphlets. He recalls getting backup from Greenberg, a particularly violent FEDRA soldier who apparently confused disseminating for jerking off and splooging in the streets. Janowitz says that when one of the detainees corrected Greenberg, the officer slammed his head into the wall and yelled, "Nobody asked you, Jizzboy." The story gets raucous laughter from his comrades, except for one person, Jeffrey writes stern, humorless Isaac Dixon. The Last of Us Part 2. Gamers know that Isaac is the leader of the Washington Liberation Front who helped take control of the region from FEDRA, but little is known about his past. It turns out in the show, Isaac is a FEDRA sergeant who betrays his own men to help the local rebels, who are led by Alana Ubaka's character, Hanrahan. After their van is stopped by a blockade led by Hanrahan, Isaac gets out, greets Hanrahan, then promptly throws a grenade into his vehicle full of surprise troops, locking the door behind him. Hanrahan shakes Isaac's hand and says, "Welcome to the fight." Isaac's explosive moment is underscored by Peck's lighthearted speech that opens the episode, but, as fans know, The Last of Us is accustomed to shocking twists. Speaking with Variety, Peck explains how he landed his role and how he humanized his despicable character. Before you auditioned, were you a fan of the video game or season 1 of the show? To be honest, I'm kind of a wimp. So when the show first came out, knowing how big the video game is, I didn't watch it at first. Then when I got the audition, I'm like, let me make sure I understand. Obviously, I knew that people were obsessed with the show and how huge it was, but I really wanted to make sure that I was matching the tone for the audition. So I watched the first episode, and 8 hours later I had watched them all. It grabbed me immediately. It was just an audition that came in, and like most great writing, when I read the scene, I was like, I think I know how to do this. I sent it out into the universe and hoped, but sort of didn't expect to hear anything back, because I don't usually get things as good as this. So when I heard back, I was so excited. What drew you in and made you want to binge the show? Like most people, Episode 3 was one of the most beautiful love stories I've ever seen. I have to give so much credit to what feels like a perfectly cast show. You think about the great shows of our generation, and most of them have been on HBO, like The Sopranos or even a show like Breaking Bad, and there isn't a single character on that show that could have been played by anyone else. That's how I feel with The Last of Us. I immediately fell in love with every character I was supposed to fall in love with, and I hated everyone I was supposed to hate. How does it feel to be on one of those generational HBO shows now? I haven't seen it, so I gotta take your word for it. Is it good? It's great. Your scene kicks off the episode, and right away I was like, wait, that's Josh Peck. Amazing. I'll be enjoying it when everyone else sees it on Sunday. I feel very, very lucky to have been involved and to have been able to work with someone like Craig Mazin, who I've been a fan of for a long time. I don't think it's a coincidence that anything I've done that's been at a higher level, be it something like Oppenheimer or this, or when I've gotten the chance to work with great actors, it feels refreshingly easy because everything has been worked out. There are no holes in the script. Everyone is at the top of their game, and you feel excited to be a part of that team.